Okay, I got a lot of good stuff today to talk about. I just got off a virtual session. I was supposed to be in Boston today on stage talking to a bunch of peers in regards to cybersecurity. It was an IT conference, and like other IT conferences or other conferences I was supposed to be going to talk at since the beginning of a wonderful COVID, this one had gone virtual as well. Why do I bring that up? Because it was interesting. During the conversation, one of the peers brought up the fact that, hey, of course, we're seeing way more cyber criminal activity. It's just happening. I mean, the FBI says cybercrime reports are up 400%. 400%. RCMP are basically saying, yeah, we're overwhelmed. But he's saying that he is also seeing, and the reason it's significant is unlike myself, I run a company that's, the term is managed service provider. I like to say technology service provider. And we assist small, medium businesses implement security and technology and keep the systems running. Well, Robert, my peer in California, his company deals specifically 100% just in providing security services to companies like mine to protect our clients. So he's just playing in the security space, and he's saying, hey, it's gone crazy. They're seeing so much more activity that's happening. And he's saying they're seeing so much more sophisticated activity. And I brought up the fact that, hey, with so many people out of work, we've been seeing, my company with our clients have been seeing a lot of unsophisticated kind of attacks. Like we're talking weak phishing emails that were pretty easy to detect. Why are we seeing an increase of what I call baby hackers or starter hackers? They're just kind of dabbling, they're just getting into the field, I guess. Why are we seeing that? Well, unemployment rates went through the roof around the world during several lockdowns, which meant people were struggling to find work. And you don't have to be IT savvy anymore to get into the cybercrime game. If you get into the right website, on the dark web, for example, you decide you're going to go play there, you can go rent ransomware as a service. That's right. You don't have to do the programming. You can just buy the software and send out ransomware and get into the ransomware game. What was your cost? Well, you're going to have to pay a percentage of whoever you infect and whatever money you generate back to the guy that wrote the software. Hey, this kind of sounds an awful lot like legitimate business, right? Maybe you're paying for an Office 365 license or a Google Docs license. That's software as a service. You're paying the software manufacturer. They put in the time, energy, and the expenses of developing the software, and you pay them a fee for it. The bad guys are doing the exact same thing. They realize, hey, I put the time and energy into writing this software. I can probably make more money if I license it out to other people and let them go worry about the headaches of how to get people infected and how to hack and how to deal with the Bitcoin. I'll just write the stuff and I'll make my money off that. And that's what's happening. So we're seeing an increased amount of people getting into it that are not very sophisticated, not very smart, actually fairly easy to catch. But the problem is it's just adding to the increased burden of stuff that's showing up. Your staff and yourself, you're losing productivity time trying to detect this stuff and to get rid of it. And if someone in your corporation accidentally clicks the wrong link and you get one of the latest threats, it could be a big hassle. It's scary. Like, we've seen companies lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not like the $49 it was 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I mean, the demands for the ransoms have gone way up. The costs for cleaning them. I mean, at one time we used to be able to get those viruses off and just keep moving. And now it's to the point, if it's a good one, we actually have to wipe everything off the computer and load it all back in. So you got the cost of the IT guys having to do the work. You've got the cost of staff sitting around idle. You've got the cost of lost productivity. Scary when you stop and think about it. Oh, and I did promise yesterday that I'd kind of give a little story about Windows security. So talking about events being up, phone rings yesterday morning as I'm getting set to leave the house, and I answer it, and it's a foreign individual. You can tell that English was not his first language, and he's calling to let me know that he's from Windows Security. Here's a key takeaway on this. Hackers will try to pretend to be someone that you would trust. Microsoft. Now, he did not say Microsoft. He said he was from Windows Security. If you have computers, you naturally assume Microsoft. If you're not technologically savvy or you don't use computers and they said they were from Windows Security, you might be like, well, my windows are closed. Why would I want to open my window? You get what I mean, right? They're targeting because they know if they bring up Windows Security, you're going to make that mental jump that it's Microsoft. Well, I'm here to tell you, Microsoft is not calling you to tell you that you've got a virus on your computer. It doesn't happen. You might reach out to them because your computer's not working, and they may be able to assist you, or they may refer you to someone like us to go remediate the problem. But they're not calling you because they don't know where you are, okay? They might know your computer, blah, 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 but they don't have your telephone number. So how do they find you, right? So these scammers are just calling. The interesting take on it is, of course, it was showing up as a local number. I mentioned last week my wife was going to prison because the CRA, the Canadian version of the IRS, was calling her because she owed back taxes. And that number actually came up showing as if it was her cell phone number calling herself. They're getting kind of tricky on this stuff, so you got to be very, very careful. So those were some thoughts or some takeaways from today's session. It was called Channel Pro. It was in Boston. The attendees, we were supposed to be doing a live show down there, and unfortunately had to go virtual, but it was still good to get on the virtual stage with my coworkers and kind of talk some of this stuff through, and interesting takes from some of the guys that are seeing some really high-end, sophisticated stuff going on. One last thing. There was they did a survey about remote desktop protocol. Maybe I should save this one for another section. But it was shocking to me to find out that there was something like 52% of people were still using or having their clients. Now remember, this was IT people, so they're providing support to companies and end users, and 52% said, yeah, they had people still using remote desktop protocol. And why is that a problem? Well, that's something that the hackers attack directly. Yeah, I am going to save that. I'll save that one for another discussion, because if you're a business and you recognize that term, remote desktop protocol, you better hope that's not open up to the internet, because if it is, you, sir, or ma'am, are going to have some serious problems. Anyways, that's my take for today. It was great getting on stage and having the chat. I'm looking forward to the day when I can actually be back on stage and talking and discussing live and in person, being able to answer some questions directly. That stuff's kind of fun, and I miss it. And one of the things we were talking about was, how much we miss airplanes and airports. Everyone was talking about it's crazy stuff. Anyways, thanks a lot for tuning in. And as I always say, stay safe out there.